Hi, Boomy, and thank you so much for joining the Success Stories podcast. And I'm so honored to have you here, and I cannot wait to have deeper discussion. But first of all, could you please introduce yourself, like what you do and why you do it?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me on your program. I'm so excited to be here because I know that from talking to you before that we're going to have a great conversation here and that your audience would get a lot of value from what we're going to discuss. My name is Boomy Tokan, and in the past few years, I've worked with small businesses, solopreneurs, helping them to scale their businesses, helping them to start businesses. My background is in business support. I've worked in business support for over 20 years. I've helped hundreds of people to start their businesses. I run my own platform on Udemy, where I have about 50 courses now and over
Oh,
300,000 students on there. And
wow.
my passion is to help people fulfill their dreams of starting and owning their own thriving businesses. So that's my why. If you're looking for that.
Thank you so much. That's incredible to help like hundreds of thousands of students and like have like 50 more courses. And that's immense value that you are bringing to this entrepreneurship world.
Thank you.
Um, if someone like came into this podcast and wonder why they need to listen to this podcast until the end, how you would answer to them?
Oh, okay. So, what we're going to be sharing today are the true methods of starting and scaling successful businesses. If you want to really grow your business, or if you want to start well, because one of the challenges is that if we look at the statistics, it says that 90% of businesses of startups fail in the first 5 years. So if you want to buck that trend, that's why you should stay on until the end, because we're going to be sharing insights that will help you to not only start well, but also to scale well and to enjoy the business that you're going to be running.
Thank you so much. Yes, that's true that there are more than 95% business fail.
Mhm.
But what's the like number one reason like business fails?
Okay. In my mind, I think the first reason why businesses fail is because people are not starting businesses that are linked to their skills, their interests, and their, if you like, their God-given gifts. So if somebody starts without that as a foundation, they're going to face certain problems. And when they face problems in business, they will just simply give up, or they will not have the skills to cope with it because really they've not developed over time. Because when you think about it, running a business is like a journey. It's like a marathon. I always equate it to a marathon run. Marathon runners don't sprint. They start running slowly and they kind of grow and develop as they run longer distances. A lot of people start in business thinking that, yeah, I'm going to start this business and boom, it's just going to take off, because that's what the social media tell us. Somebody just started a business yesterday and now they're making £1 million a year. So I should be making £1 million a year. And then they discover that they're not even making £100. They're not making £1,000. So I think it's also seeing a business, seeing your journey in entrepreneurship as truly what it is, a journey. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And you've got to start well to be able to endure for the long term.
Okay, how start well look like in a
Okay.
business?
Yeah, start well means the first thing you do, even before you pick a business, is to consider what are my strengths, what are my gifts, what do I do naturally, what are my true area of interest, rather than how we do it is that what most people do is they look at, oh, what's trending right now? Well, where can I make money now? Oh, wow, I can make money with AI. Oh, I can make money with drop shipping. Oh yeah, I can trade, I'll make money. Oh, I can do property, I'll make money. But those things, if they don't align with your own personal areas of interest, with your own personal skills, with your own personal gifts, then you're not gonna it's not gonna work in the long term, because even if you make money, you will discover that you're still not satisfied. So what I teach people to do is, once you've identified what your skills are, what your gifts are, what your areas of interest are, then find a business that fits into the intersection of all those three areas. So I call that a sweet spot. So once you hit a sweet spot, then you are more likely to be resilient in that business. Let's take an example that can help us to clarify this. So if I like helping people to eat well, if I like exercise, and I like reading books about nutrition, yeah, well, surely that kind of person, if they work in the well-being industry, they're gonna be more successful than someone who has no interest and just wants to make money in the well-being business. Because your customers are going to see through you anyway. Then you're not going to be able to learn and grow and evolve as you should. So if we take an example like that, and we work on those kind of areas, we're more likely to be successful in what we do.
Okay, thank you so much. For example, like personally, I studied like pharmacy and then drug discovery and development, um, because I believe that I want to help people to live healthy.
Mm-hmm.
But then the more I studied, the more I discovered that I want to help people to live a fulfilling life, not only
Mm-hmm.
health.
Yeah.
So I like the more I study, the more I realize myself that I want to help people to be successful.
Yeah.
So that's why I started this podcast.
Yeah.
Um, I think I know my interest, and then if I want to pick a niche
Mm-hmm.
which works for me, which can help me to make money, which can help me to make impact, probably there is nothing to do with what I studied, like pharmacy and the drug discovery and development, which I paid like lots of money in. Like how you um like what do you say about this? Like probably there are a lot of people study something they thought they would be interested in that, but at the end they didn't use it much.
Yeah, that's not necessarily a problem, because sometimes we start off on a journey thinking that's what we want to do. And then we discover that actually it's not quite what I wanted. But in my mind, those skills you've developed in studying pharmacy, it's not going to go to waste, because you've developed some skills studying pharmacy. You've developed some knowledge studying pharmacy that you may be able to bring into what you're going to do next. But it's just that you may not work in pharmacy. You may not work particularly in jobs that probably uses more of your pharmaceutical skills as you would if you're working with people to be better entrepreneurs. For example, it's when you're working in pharmacy, it's still about helping people to improve their lives, helping people to be well nourished, to be well rounded. So you're still talking about well being. The entrepreneurship is still about well being, because if you are not happy with what you're doing to make money, because we spend most of our waking moments working, that's well being. If that area is not sorted, you are not going to do well. So I don't think that your skills, which you generated in pharmacy, is not useful. I actually think it's very useful in what you're going to do next, or what you're doing now.
Thank you so much. This is so
Yeah,
interesting. So if I can see something that what I'm dealing with is not a work, but something that brings me joy and that I enjoy a lot, then it would be more likely that I will be succeed in this field while I'm
absolutely.
doing it.
Absolutely. It's more likely you're going to stay through the challenges in that business. What tends
Mhm.
to happen is, when we start a business that we're not generally interested in, or we're not genuinely interested in, when we hit a roadblock, what we do is we go start something else.
Thank you so much. So I know that I want to help people to have a fulfilling life to be
Yeah.
successful.
Yeah.
But how I know that who I can help first? For example, like there are people who are just starting out, and probably um, people who probably 9 to 5 jobs. They are different situation. How I can pick my clients or people that I can help?
Okay, so in other words, what you're asking, if I get you right, which is a very good question, is how do you pick your niche?
Yes,
And
in
okay,
a word, yeah.
well, in a
Pick my
word, so
niche.
okay, yeah, who do you target? Who are the
Yeah,
first people that you should try and sell your products to or your services to?
yeah.
The way I look at it, when we look at it from the perspective of adaptive entrepreneurship, which is using what you have where you are, and with everything that you know right now, you want to pick a group of people that you have access to. You see, one of the things that I think really works is once you start thinking about the kind of business you want to run, you will suddenly, and the services you want to provide, you suddenly realize that actually I have access to one or two people who might be interested in what I'm doing. So start with who you know right now. Start with where you are. Don't say to yourself, oh, when I can reach the billionaires, then I'll start delivering my services to the billionaires. If you don't know any billionaire right now, then don't deliver your service to the billionaires, because how you gonna get them? It's because you don't have access. So start
Mhm.
with where you have access with people who need your product. I think that if you think about a service and you scroll through your phone, you would find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people that
Mhm.
you can sell your products to. So we start there. That's your niche. Begin there.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
remember, sometimes our niche can change over time, because
Mhm.
where you start may not be necessarily where you end up. But
Mhm.
you need to start to gain experience and to be qualified to move to the next level. So you got to start somewhere. So start with the niche that you have access to. And
Okay.
that niche needs to do three things. They need
Mhm.
to want your product or your service. They need to be willing to use it. So they not only want it, but they're also willing to use it, and they're also willing to
Mhm.
pay for it.
Mhm.
Or if you like, they are willing, they have the ability, and it is useful for them.
Mhm.
You know, because sometimes somebody may need your product but are not willing to pay for it or cannot afford to pay for it.
Mhm.
So they need to be able to use your product. They need to be able to be willing to pay for it, and they can afford to pay for it. So if
Okay.
those three dots are in a row, then you will have a winning business. That could even actually be a product market fit. So somebody
Mhm.
wants your product, they need your product, they have the ability to pay for it, and they're also willing to pay for it.
Okay. Thank you so much. This is very useful. So after like selecting like people who I have access to, then I pick a niche. Then if they're willing to use it and pay for it, and I think that's the good sign that this can be my niche. Um, then what should I do? Should I study these clients, like what common traits like or problems they have? Like what should we do next?
Okay. Yeah, you're right. Actually, you're moving in the you're moving in the right direction. Maybe you should be sitting here.
I want to learn more.
You're moving in the right direction. Absolutely. So the next thing you need to do is to create. I will create what I call, or what is commonly known as, an MVP, which is a minimum viable product. And a minimum viable product is, the kind of product or service that solves a problem for the target audience you have picked. It's not the finished product, but it is a good enough product to help the niche that you are working with. Because one of the challenges is that this is a wrong way of viewing business, is somebody locks themselves up in their garage and creates this product, and then when this product is finally created with all the bells and whistles, then they launch the product. Well, that's not the way to. That's a wrong way of doing a product, of creating a product. You create a product on the fly. I like the way that one of my mentors creates products. He will think about a course that he wants to run and he will promote it to his group. He will advertise it. Then when people say, yeah, I want to come on, I want to pay, he gets them to pay. When they pay, then he creates the product.
Mm.
It's a very risky
Mm.
way of doing it, but it works
Yeah.
for him. He would he would advertise the product first. Then if he can see that people are willing to pay for it, then he will create it. Or it will advertise a product, it will create it, it will start creating it by offering it over a few days. So it will create the first, module. Then when people have taken that module, then you create the next module the next day for the next day, because he's learning and generating feedback as it goes along. So what you want to do initially is, because no product is an actual finished product, because every product can be improved. That's the reality. I'm sure even Tesla is tweaking and trying to improve their cars. So everything is, even the phones they give us, they know that this phone has bugs, and they still give it to us. And we start using it and we say, oh yeah, well, but when I press this doesn't happen. So they say, oh, okay, thank you, we'll fix it. Then they fix it, they give it back. That's why we have upgrades on our phones or updates on the phones.
Yeah.
It's because it's not a finished product. So don't think you have to have a finished product before you launch. You need to launch with a minimum viable product. And a minimum viable product is a product that solves at least one or two other problems, or that solves the major problem, at least tries to solve the major problem that your ideal customer has. You need to put that into the market, put it into their hands, put it into them, let them start using it. Let them give you a feedback on what you need to improve. Then you go back, you improve it, you give it back to them. They use it a little bit more. They discover that, okay, yeah, it's working now. But if you can add this, it will be good. You add whatever they require and you give it back, and you keep going through that process until you actually get a really good semi-finished product, which people are willing to pay for. So that's what you would do next.
Okay. Thank you so much. And then there's something like some question came into my mind.
Yeah.
So when we choose we know like who to serve, and then how we should pick up the problems. They might have like different problems, like people, and how we know that's the problem that we should focus on, and like what should we focus on, one like problem first, or several problem together to cover like more people at
Okay.
the same time.
Yeah. Thank you. That's a very good question. So depending on what it is, if let's say you're talking to, let's pick an ideal client. Let's pick somebody who wants to, using the kind of service that you want to offer, somebody who wants to enjoy life in its fullness. So they want to be healthy, wealthy, and they want to, have very good friends, and they want to have good social life and things like that. So, and that person does not know how to communicate with people. What is actually restricting them? The reason why they are not progressing, the reason why they're not doing well in business, is not because they don't have a good product. It's actually because they don't know how to communicate. So you can also know that if they don't know how to communicate, then maybe they don't know how to hire people. If they don't know how to communicate, they're not going to be able to hire the right staff. But that's another problem entirely. So you can deal with the first, or you can deal with the most important problem that the niche has. A niche will have several problems, but you choose and say, okay, what is the number one problem? If I can solve this one problem for them, would that change everything? Because if you can help that person to improve their ability to communicate, then they'll not only be able to communicate and sell their business better, they'll be able to communicate to hire staff, they'll be able to communicate to give presentations, they'll be able to communicate to improve their relationships, their existing relationships. So for that person, the major problem in their life is communication, personal communication. Then you got to think about it like this. do you have the knowledge to help them solve that problem? So if you pick a major problem that the client
Mhm.
has, and
Mhm.
it also aligns with your own ability to solve that problem, then that's the problem you should solve first.
Okay. Thank you so much. This is very interesting, and actually, I can give you another example, and that
Mm-hmm.
like to make it more clear.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so in addition to this podcast, I have a business back in China,
Okay.
and I serve Uyghur people um, with like I want to help them to achieve their goals. So I've used the law of attraction like for 8 years now, and I
Mm-hmm.
achieved um, the the result that I want to have from the exams, and
Mm-hmm.
I manifested the person that I want to be with, like my
Mm-hmm.
husband, and I manifested the house and manifested money like several times.
Yeah.
Um, so I started with like general the law of attraction manifestation
Yeah.
thing on social media. It become like viral. Like people like it a lot.
Yeah.
When I first started, I didn't have like specific niche, but like general. Then um, then I wanted to pick a niche because all my mentors told me that you need to pick a niche because it's more profitable. It's easier to yeah, be more successful. So
Yeah.
I struggled that time to choose one, whether to help people to manifest a dream husband, or manifest money, or manifest health, or studying abroad. Um, so then I asked like my audience like what they want to achieve,
Yeah.
and then most people told me that they want to manifest money.
Yeah.
So then I created the course about manifesting money,
Yeah.
and I had several experience. But in order to serve them, I want to learn more. So I'm learning, and at the same time, I'm serving them. But some of them actually are richer than me.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, for example, if I want to target people who are richer, that may who manifested more money in their lives, um, I don't know, should I target them or should I serve people who are less well off? So there's this kind of question, um, yeah, in my head, and I didn't know, like, I don't know yet the right answer. So how I should think this
Okay.
time?
Yeah. That's a very interesting question, and it's a question that a lot of people might consider. I think mostly you should target people who are less well off than you, but are also able to achieve the success that you are going to teach them. Because if somebody is starting from zero, it doesn't mean that they will never be able to achieve whatever you're going to teach them, but it's going to take longer, and you may not have the necessary time to spend with that person to get them there. However, I was thinking about something just now
Mhm.
that something Alex Homozy said. He was talking on one of his podcasts that I was watching, and he was talking about a millionaire who came to him for advice on scaling his social media activities. So,
Mhm.
in your case, in your example, sometimes it could be that somebody who has more money than you is struggling in a particular aspect of that making money that you know about.
Mhm. Very
So
interesting. Hmm.
yeah, so you can still help them anyway. They would still come to you if they are struggling with a part, because that billionaire, he said that guy is a billionaire friend. That billionaire is struggling with social media. Now, Alex Emozi on social media is very huge on social media, but that
Yeah,
guy has more money than him. So
yeah.
if it's about money, the guy has more money, but he has a problem. He needs to learn more about social media. So, like I said, you could have an aspect of your training that is very appealing to those who have money, and they would raise their hands up, and you can probably meet that need as well. But it would just be
Mhm.
that your core audience
Mhm.
are people that you can take on the journey to where you've been.
Mhm. Thank you so much. This is very helpful.
Yeah.
So if I think this way, and I've been also learning like selling high ticket sales, because that's that can help me to help more people while I'm making money and
Yeah.
like achieving my financial goal.
Yeah.
So that's why this question came into my mind. If I want to target millionaires,
Yeah.
like billionaires,
Yeah.
so they might have specific problem. As you when you said that, I can think of like fear, which can like which helped me to like after overcoming the fear, I was able to manifest money like easily.
Yeah.
So I believe like some still some millionaires probably dealing with this kind of fear.
Sure.
Yeah, I can think of this way, so it's like much more clear now to think about what they are struggling with and how I can help, and if I can help,
Yeah.
of course I can target.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much
Yeah. No
for
worries.
this. Um, so like now we can pick a niche
Hmm.
and then know if it's a good niche. But how we know if that's not a good niche? I'm like we had an idea, we tried to target some people, but they didn't pay. And what should we do next?
Okay, you try to target some people, they didn't pay, or they
Mm-hmm.
couldn't pay, or they weren't willing
Mm-hmm.
to pay. Then you look for another niche. You look for another group of people that your product fits or that can use your product. So, for example, let's say in your case, using your example of helping people to manifest money, so you tried people who are earning like 50K a year
Mm-hmm.
who want to improve, they want to earn like maybe a quarter of a million. And
Mm-hmm.
you tried selling your product to them, they didn't want to pay. So maybe they cannot afford it really. Or
Mm-hmm.
it could be you have not delivered for them the product. Okay, first of all, you need to find out what the problem is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If the problem is affordability, then you might have to create a kind of payment structure that fits their finance. Because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's not that people don't want to pay for something, it's that the way the payment is structured, they cannot afford it. But if the
Mm-hmm.
payment was to be structured in a different way, maybe they'll pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
So find out what the
Yeah.
problem is. If it's a case of they don't want the
Mm-hmm.
product could be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So
How I know if it's the reason, like the reason is not money, but they didn't want to buy it. How I know that?
okay, if they don't, how you will know is once you've tried quite a few people and you've got a feedback. And one of the good things about working in a smaller niche in the beginning is that you're working with people who don't mind trying what you are selling and who don't mind giving you feedback.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody might argue that maybe the first 5 sales you should have should be free or very nominal so that people give you feedback. What's
Mm-hmm.
important in the beginning of every business is to have genuine feedback. Without genuine feedback, it's going to be difficult to understand what is wrong with the product and what improvements you need to make. So if you're getting genuine feedback, they'll probably tell you what's wrong with the product, and then you can adjust. You can fix the bugs in that product before you move forward. So if they don't like the product, then you have to re-look at the product and say, well, why didn't they like that product? Maybe that product is not for that niche. But you've got to lay aside your ego and your attachment to the product. I think when people are starting in business, they're too attached to the product in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So even when the clients is saying, no, I don't like it because they're not hearing it. Because they're
Yeah.
overly attached to the product. You cannot be overly attached to your product. You must like your product, obviously, but not overly attached. Let people be able to criticize it and, be able to go away and think about what somebody has said and then reassess and develop the product as you go along. So a product may somebody or a group of people may not purchase a product because of finance or because it's not good enough. It doesn't really meet their needs. Or maybe there's an existing product in the market that better meets their needs. And
Mm-hmm.
you have to follow Elon's advice. Elon says if you enter into a new business and you're creating a product, you got to make your product 10 times better than the existing products on the market, because people will feel better going back to the existing product if yours is just a little bit better. They'll be like, yeah, that person is, yeah, the product is good, but this other person, I've been trading with them for the past 10 years. So I'd rather go back and buy from them. But when your product is 10x better, they're like, whoa, this just scales everything massively. So I've got to jump ship and move to this new person who's selling this new product. So you got to know that. But having gone through all that and you discover that, yeah, my product is good, I'm offering good payment structures, or I have different payment structures, then you have to look at another group of people who may be more suited to that product. As in the case of the finance, you might have to look at those who are earning 100,000 maybe. Maybe they'll be interested in it rather than those who are earning 50,000. So you'll have to just check that out.
Okay, thank you so much. So you said that we need to, if we start the same thing, like if we do the same thing or
Yeah.
solve the same problem, we
Yeah.
need to we need to be 10 times better than
Yeah.
existing solutions.
Yeah.
But what if, like, if I look at my my experience, my skill set, and I feel like I can't make 10 times better. What should I
Okay.
do?
Yeah. Obviously, that's an ideal. If you cannot make 10 times better, but you need to be better, you need to offer something different from what is out there. Otherwise, you're going to struggle. You're going to be competing in a red ocean as opposed to a blue ocean. So if you
Should I
think
change?
about, huh?
Sorry, like, should I change my niche, like the problem that I need to solve?
No, maybe you can layer your services and add more value to it. Sometimes it's not very difficult to add value to something. So I'll give an example of something that we do. So we help organizations to set up maybe charities. People who want to set up charities, they're looking for, because tells them a charity is actually a complex thing, and it's actually a legal document. So somebody comes, maybe they can get someone else, an accountant, to open it for £500. But I said to them, okay, we'll charge you £2,000. It's like, whoa, why are you going to charge us £2,000? Because an accountant can get it done for 500. I said, well, we supply business advice with the setting up process, and we supply business advice over the next 3 months. So business advice is what we do naturally anyway. So we just added that to the setup service, and suddenly it's gone from 500 to 2,000. So just layering additional services, useful additional services onto an existing service could increase the value to a point where people are more interested in it and makes it different from what exists. So if you think like that, you probably would be able to increase the value and 2x or 3x, maybe 5x, 10.
Like better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And yeah, another thing is that in a business, I think we have a strong team. We need to have a strong team. And when I was doing my MBA, the first lesson was the 40% of the success comes from a team, like successful team. The idea probably less than 20%, even 10%. So how I should look for team members who can help me to provide better solutions or product?
Okay. That's a very good question.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a very, very good question, because the most expensive and most useful resource is the human resource. It's the people you have around you. So how should you look for people, the right people? Number one is this: you need to know yourself. What are your own strengths? What are your own weaknesses? A lot of people tend to build a team that is very similar to them, or they like working with a partner who is just, oh, we think alike, oh, we always think about the same things the same way. That's a problem already, because the reality of the matter is you want somebody who not only challenges your thinking, but also complements your thinking. A business requires a variety of things. A business requires product development, sales and marketing, administration, finance. So maybe you're an accountant, you're only good at finance. You're not good at selling, and you're not good at promoting or marketing, and you're not good at creating a product. But you know how to administer the money when it comes in. You know how to raise money. You're very clued up about money, but that's about it. But what's going to happen to the other three elements of the business? So if you go get another accountant to work with you, surely your business is going to fail. That's a disaster right there. But if you think to yourself, oh, okay, I'm very good at finance. So what I'm going to do is I need a marketing person or a salesperson, and I need this other. So you need to know who you are. That's the foundation of this. Otherwise, you will not build the right team. Once you know who you are, then you know, okay, what are the things that the business needs to succeed? Like I said, we said, okay, we need sales, we need product development. Okay, so who is the next person I need to bring on based on where I am right now? So maybe what you really need right now is not product development, because you kind of got a product, but you need to get out there and start marketing and selling it. So you want a salesperson next, or you want a product person next. So you can determine that based on what you are, what you know. The challenge is that when you are first starting, you tend to do all these things as a solopreneur. You are the only one doing marketing, you're doing finance, But as soon as you can, you might want to get a virtual assistant to take some of that burden off you. For example, I was talking to a client just 2 days ago, actually. I helped him to set up his Google My Business, which I'm quite happy about, because when he came to me, he didn't have it. Or when he had it, it was not that great. It wasn't making anything. Anyway, so we helped set up this Google Business profile. And it told me the other day, said, oh, you know what, Boomy, somebody found me on Google My Business and was really excited about what I did, and is offered me a contract there and then. It's kind of just increased my business income by 40% just by that one contract. So it said, I wanted to thank you, so I said, you got to do me another video so that I can use that to promote. Anyway, the point I'm making is that I was saying to him, and he was now, when we're talking, we realized that he's still leaving a lot of money on the table because he's not conducting his email marketing as he should. So he said, yeah, I do once a week. I send out emails. I said, that's not good enough. I said, okay, how much money are you going to make if you send out more emails? He told me how much money he's going to make. I said, okay, from that money you're going to make, then you can afford to employ somebody whose sole job would be to send out emails and to work on your social media. So that's what we decided. So because he doesn't have the time to do it, because he's thinking about so many other things. But if he does it, the amount of money he's going to make will cover the cost of hiring someone. Then as soon as you hit that place, you should hire someone, or you should start hiring someone who is going to take some of the burden off you and do the necessary elements of the business that you are not good at doing, or are not capable of doing, or somebody can do better. Even if they can do it just as good as you, because that's another problem. Solopreneurs have difficulty delegating to somebody because they know they can do it better. All right. Even if you know you can do it better, you should still not do it.
Yeah, it's better to hire people, and then they would be even better, like quickly. And then it's much better than doing nothing, right? Yeah.
Because you cannot do everything. So if somebody can do it just as good as you, get them to do it, because they can improve as they go along. If you find somebody who can do it even better than you, good. But don't say because I can do it better than them, or they're just as good as me. We're on the same level, so I should do it. No, if they're on the same level, let them do it, and you go do something else.
Mhm.
because you need to be thinking strategically about your business as opposed to doing the same thing that somebody else can do and probably would grow in doing it and be able to do it better if they do it more often. Then you should let them do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So work on the business, not work
Yeah,
in the
not in
business.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is also very helpful. Because yeah, when I first started the YouTube and I did all the things myself, like the editing, like finding the guest speaker, posting everything, but the then I feel exhausted and I couldn't have time to book more guest
Yeah.
speakers. So I can't
Yeah.
like deliver every week, which I wanted actually. Then I started to hire the editor, so the quality is much better.
Yeah.
And of course, I came across some editors who didn't do the work well, but
Yeah.
then at least I know, and then I have a chance to find another one, and then it became better and better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it just gave me more time to book like clients and work like look at some my which like where I can improve on. So yeah, it gave me um more freedom and also more
Yeah.
time.
More time.
Um,
Yeah.
More time exactly.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So like, what do you at the beginning? If I want to hire a person,
Hmm.
I know they can add value, but probably I don't have money to hire them. And
Yeah.
should I give some percentage of the company or what should I do?
Okay. Uh, it depends on where that person is at. Sometimes you
Mm,
can find someone who would work for you for free, actually, because
mhm,
they're genuinely interested in the mission or the vision of the business.
mhm,
So they might be able to offer you some hours for free. Sometimes people are not in a financial position to offer the hours for free. So you might have to pay them expenses.
mhm,
Okay, that's another way of doing it. Another way of doing it is for them to now be a partner, or you are offering them some form of equity in the business,
mhm,
or you are giving them a commission on sale. So you could do that. If it's a business that affords that, you can let them have a commission on sale, and some people would be interested in that. It really depends on the the regularity of income that is being brought into the business and where the person is at in their own financial journey. So somebody who may be able to work for free because they lack experience, but they need experience, could be a good person in the beginning,
mhm,
because then you can train them and they are getting value out of it as they're working. Or somebody who just needs their expenses covered because they're living at home, so they don't need that much money. Or somebody who needs money and are willing to work on commission, could be a way forward.
mhm,
Or one that needs a combination of expenses and commission, could be a way to do
mhm,
it. But if you're
mhm,
thinking about a partner, then maybe the partner might, maybe the partner might work for equity, for ownership of the business. You could have that as well.
and thank you so much. Um, yeah, actually, I also have a question.
Mm,
Um, about like so if I am good at a lot of aspect in the business, for example, um, I I enjoy delivering the product, for example, the
yeah,
coaching,
yeah,
and I enjoy the sales process,
yeah,
and I enjoy making the video, and I enjoy editing.
yeah.
So like how I know like which are the areas or um, like for example how I should select the thing that I need to focus on and then give the other work to others.
Okay, so it's it's gonna pare down to two things. Number one, what are you really good at? And number
Mhm,
two, what are the requirements of the business?
mhm,
It's very rare to have someone who is equally as good at every aspect the business needs. It's very
mhm,
rare. I'm not saying that that person doesn't exist, but it's rare.
mhm,
For example,
mhm,
I hate administration. I hate admin. I just no.
Yeah.
I'll be thinking for days. If I'm the one that is left to do this admin thing, I'll be thinking for many days to do it. But hey, I could talk now for hours on this subject because I enjoy it. So that's easy. Doing presentations and things like that, I find it easy. Creating courses, I find it easy. But so yeah, can I do some of the admin? Yeah, if I lock myself down, yeah, I can do it. But do I want to do it? The answer is no. So, find out of all those things, if let's say you were left to do one thing without restriction, what would you choose? So that's one area. That's a pointer as to what you should be doing. The other thing is, what does the business require right now? It could be the business requires management. It is you actually need to manage the processes. So that's what you should be doing right now. Because if you don't manage the process and there's no one else to manage the processes, then the business is not going to work. If the business requires you to get out and sell, maybe you might have to get out and sell for a bit if there's no one else to do it. So that's how you kind of decide, okay, I look at what I'm good at, what I really enjoy, focus on that, or what does the business need right now? Because
Okay.
you might have to be the person starting to engage in what the business requires before you bring someone else in, as a solopreneur. It's just the way it works.
Okay. Thank you so much. So like this is very helpful because that's what I'm thinking about now, like how like who I should bring and what skills
Yeah,
the person should have,
yeah.
etc. Um, and if we move on to the price, so for
Mhm.
example, how we should charge, how we should dictate the price,
Yeah,
set in the price.
yeah. I never forget something about price that shocked me. Well, in fact, I've been shocked. I've been shocked again this week. Um, when I was listening to Grant Cardone, Grant Cardone is very aggressive. It's just
Mm-hmm.
like it's very bullish.
Mm-hmm.
He says when people come to him and he asks them, okay, so how much are you going to charge for that? And they tell him, he says to them, okay, 10x it. I'm like, whoa, what's that? 10x, yeah. Because his argument is that we always charge a lot less than we're worth. So that's one thing. The other thing that I learned just a few days ago, someone was saying that you should have a product that costs so much money that even you are frightened to say how much it's going to cost. And you should put that label on that product. So let's say you have 3 or 4 products. Okay, so one is like, I don't know, 500, another one is 5,000, another one is 10,000. Then you should go and have this product that you say, okay, this other one, it costs 125,000.
Mm-hmm.
He said, because when you have that product, number one, somebody may buy it. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
That's one. The other thing is, once you have a £125,000 product, it somehow reflects on the other products. It somehow addresses the fact that maybe your other products could be a little bit more so that it fits in with the £125,000 product.
Mm-hmm.
So price is always an area that business owners struggle with. Obviously, there's a price in which people may not pay at all, and you might begin to lose clients because it just doesn't work. And that could be because it doesn't fit. Maybe you haven't found the right clients to meet it, but there's an amount of money that people generally would not pay, or you wouldn't have a lot of clients paying for that, or you don't have the credibility right now to get people to pay for that. For example,
Mm-hmm.
if Grant Cardone is running a coaching program and he says it's 100,000, people are willing to pay for it. If someone else says it's 100,000, it's just like, nah, I'm not paying you 100,000. Whatever, because you don't have the credibility or the clout right now to carry that amount of money. But the market is so huge that we have enough credibility to start making money right now. That's the good thing
Yeah.
about this life. We all
Yeah.
we are able to make money that we want. So going back to the price is always think about value.
Mm-hmm.
What's the value of this product? how does somebody, what do people consider as value? How can you position yourself in a place where people perceive you as someone who is bringing value? Now, think about this. When Van Gogh painted a chair, if that chair were to be sold, it would be sold for $200 or £500 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But when Van Gogh painted that product, he painted that same chair worth £2,000 is painted. That chair is worth, that painting is worth 25 million. So over time, that painting has become more valuable. Well, I don't know, 1 million times more valuable or
Mm-hmm.
1,000 times more valuable, maybe even 1 million, than the picture itself. So in between that, between the small value of the chair to the immense value of the painting, what's happened in between? Well, time has happened. So over time, you can create credibility over time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You can generate more experience over time. You can put out more products over time that makes people think about you as someone who has more value than the average person. So
Mm-hmm.
your price would then vary because in between you have increased your credibility and you are able to add more value to people than before. So then you can charge more money.
Mm-hmm.
So price has to be seen more about in relation to value. How does your client perceive what you are bringing to the table? How do they perceive you? Well, they perceive you because of what you've done. They perceive you because of what you know. They perceive you because of people you know. They perceive you because of what you've done in the past, what people say about you. All these things can add value to what you're doing. So, which then affects the price that you can charge.
Okay, thank you so much. So, like for example, if I served around 50 people,
Mhm.
and among those, like 20 people are kept saying that they are very happy, they achieved the results. Does it qualify me to have a high ticket offer? Like I sold them very low, like low price, which
Sure,
is 300.
sure.
Um, and then when I can charge people like tens of thousands of pounds for the service or coaching, for example.
Okay. So, some people would say, let me give you an idea. Let me say this. This is a real life situation. I know a coach. I know a coach that will, his products, his high ticket is maybe 25,000. And he does get people who pay him 25,000. But he could deliver the same product for $2,000 or even $1,000 to someone else.
Mm.
And the question is, why would he do that? Well, he may do that because, number one, he feels that the person that he's going to deliver it to cannot afford 25,000, but they're going to add more value to him at some point. That they're going to talk about him, they're going to do the work, and they're going to give him huge amount of reviews, and he can leverage their reviews to charge more money to someone else. So he might do that.
Mm.
So
Mm.
there's that flexibility that we need to be aware of that can take place even when we have a large or a high ticket offer that we're selling. Now, but the point is that you can leverage what you have done already by now trying out your prices. Some of the prices you just have to try it. You don't know how much people are going to pay until you ask
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when you ask and you get it, you're like, okay, oh, I asked for 5 grand and the person paid, oh, okay, maybe next time I can ask for 7 and see what happens.
Mm.
So you
Mhm.
ask, and
Okay.
then, but if you ask for 5 and they're like, oh, no, no. And you ask another person, they're like, no, and you ask for, maybe you drop the price, you find a reason why you can drop the price. So, sometimes you get to the point whereby you've charged 5 grand for a product. Just giving an example, you've charged £5,000 so much that you know that there are lots of people who are willing to pay 5,000. So now you want to move up, you start charging 10,000, and then you might have a few
Mhm.
people who might do that. Then you charge 10,000 so many times that you know now, oh, I can charge 20,000.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Okay.
you develop as you go along and you try the prices. You must not be afraid to try prices. I once told the client, she was telling me that she needed to increase her money. She wants to earn more money, blah, blah, blah. So I said to her, okay, she sells beauty products. So I said to her,
Mhm.
just charge more money for your online products. You go, ooh, no, Boomy, no, 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 no. I don't want to do that. I said, why not? So they won't pay. I said, just try it. And I said to her, it's online anyway. They don't pay. You just go in there and change the button. That's all you do.
Mhm.
So stick some pounds on and see what happens.
Mhm.
She told me the other day, she said to me, Boomy, you know what? I've increased my price 3 times since you mentioned it, and people are still paying. So you see?
Yeah, never know. Like, yeah, no harm to try, right?
No, you just got to try it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I also heard that like people buy even quicker sometimes if it's like higher price, if it's more
yeah,
expensive.
yeah. Some people are like that. Some people
Mm.
perceive, they perceive a higher uh, ticket offer as a better product.
Mhm.
You know, for
Mhm.
example, in what I was telling you, if somebody told you they could set up a charity for £100, you'd be worried. You'd be like,
Mhm.
oh no, that person can't be good. you know, that's what the client
Mhm.
would think. That person can't be good because in all the top in all the leaders who create charities, they all charge over in excess of £1,000. So when somebody comes in the market and says, "Oh, I'm going to charge 100 or I'm going to charge 50 quid," then they'll be like, "Whoa, whoa, that person, no, 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 don't work with them,"
No.
kind of thing. Because yeah, I think the average person understands that they need to pay for them to get quality.
Mhm.
So whether
Yeah.
they can afford it or not, that's besides the point. But they know that they need to pay to get quality. You know,
Yeah. Okay.
and
Thank you so
so
much.
yeah,
Mm. So, like, do you also have one-to-one, like one-on-one students? Do you coach
yeah. I
private?
coach one to one, and I do group coaching. Yeah, that the clients I've been telling you about, those are all one to one clients where I help them with their businesses and people are seeing results. I took a client recently. When she started working with me, she was earning £30,000 a year, and after about a year, her income was 118,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's a very, very good
yeah,
improvement.
she's an outlier though. She's really, she's really scaled because the point is, if the client does the work, they get the result.
Mhm.
I think one of the
Yeah.
challenges is getting the client to do the work. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I do have one-to-one clients, group coaching, and one-to-one clients.
Okay. Thank you. I think like in a very short, less than an hour time, I've learned a lot and I
Oh,
found a lot of good answers for my own business. Of course, I
thank you.
asked a general question which can help
Yeah.
my audience. So if my audience wanted to have you as their mentor, what are the ways that you can offer to them?
So yeah, if they wanted to have me as a mentor, they can reach out to me. If you go to any of my uh, inside inside my YouTube videos, you'll see in the description, you'll see my email and my number. You can get in touch. We'll have a discovery session. And when I say discovery, I mean discovery. I'm not trying to hot sell people. In fact, I'm going to do a video about that, because when people talk about discovery, they now get you online. They want to kind of force you to have to make a decision there and then. I don't think that's discovery. Discovery is you're really discovering whether you want to work with the person or not, because it's not everybody that I want to work with.
Mhm.
If you're not going to do the work, you're going to waste your money and then you're going to complain. No, I want people who are going to do the work. If you're serious about doing the work, then let's have a discovery. Let's see if we work well together, and then we'll move forward. You decide on
Mhm.
which one of the packages you want, and whether it's 8 weeks, 3 months, or 6 months, or a 1 year package. Then we'll work together, because I want the client to get results.
Yeah, it totally
I
makes
get
sense.
excited when the clients get results. I was so excited when
Yeah.
the guy was telling me about his new addition on Google My Business the other day. I got so excited, because it's like, yes, that's it. That
Mm.
is it. I
Yeah.
knew every local business must have a business profile, and I labored on it. I worked on it with him, and he got the result. Yes, that's
Mm.
it. It's about the result
Yeah.
for the client.
Yeah, yeah,
So
because you found your sweet spot, right? You are doing what
yeah, I got it. I got it.
what you love, and you're
I got
achieving
it.
result, and that
I got it.
makes you
Yeah.
very very exciting.
Yeah.
And you are also writing a book, right? Do you publish it soon?
Yes, it's going to be published on the 17th of May. The Adaptive
Very soon.
Startup System. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. And I would update the description for this video when you publish, but I would include your YouTube channel and your contact detail, LinkedIn profile
Yeah.
under the description, so my audience can reach out to you if they need
Okay,
any
that'll be
help,
good. Yeah.
further help. Yeah, thank you so much for all your sharing all your stories, wisdom, and I've learned a lot. And I believe my audience benefited from this video a lot. And
Thank
thank you
you.
so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
It's
Thank you
been
so
great.
much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
Thank you.